The Bible says, "Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person." This is a lesson Sophie had to learn the hard way.
Sophie was a force to be reckoned with. Sharp-witted, fiercely intelligent, and confident, she was the kind of student who not only excelled academically, but also stood out in every social setting. As she approached her graduation from college, poised to finish at the top of her class, her future seemed incredibly bright. She had secured a coveted internship with a prestigious law firm, a position that could launch her career and set her on a path to success. However, beneath her impressive exterior, Sophie harbored a flaw that threatened to unravel all she had worked for: her sharp tongue and lack of empathy. She prided herself on her honesty, often saying, "I'm just speaking the truth. I can't help it if you can't handle the truth." To Sophie, this was a badge of honor, a sign of her integrity and unwillingness to sugarcoat reality. But to those around her, it came across as harsh and unkind. Sophie's professors admired her intellect and drive, but they were often taken aback by her bluntness. In class discussions, she didn't hesitate to call out what she saw as flawed arguments, sometimes in a way that left her peers feeling humiliated. Her classmates respected her abilities, but were wary of engaging with her, fearing her sharp critiques. Even her friends found it difficult to confide in her, knowing that her feedback, though honest, could be brutally candid. One afternoon, Sophie's favorite professor, Dr. Martin, asked her to stay after class. He had been observing her behavior and was concerned about its potential impact on her future. "Sophie," he began, his tone gentle but firm, "you're one of the brightest students I've ever had. Your insights are invaluable, but your delivery can be abrasive." Sophie frowned, not understanding the gravity of his words. "I'm just being honest, Dr. Martin. If people can't handle the truth, that's their problem." Dr. Martin sighed. "I appreciate your honesty, but there's a difference between being truthful and being tactless. Your internship at Harrison and Company is a fantastic opportunity, but it requires not just intelligence, but also the ability to work well with others. If you continue to alienate people with your bluntness, it could jeopardize your career." Sophie's eyes widened slightly. She respected Dr. Martin immensely, and his words struck a chord. She left his office deep in thought, wondering if her honesty had indeed crossed the line into insensitivity. The turning point came during a group project for her final class. Sophie was teamed up with 3 other students, including Emma, a quiet but diligent classmate. As they discussed their project, Emma suggested an approach that Sophie immediately found flawed. Without hesitation, she shot it down. "That's a terrible idea, Emma. It won't work," she said bluntly. Emma's face turned red, and she looked down, clearly hurt. The other group members exchanged uneasy glances, and the mood in the room shifted. Sophie noticed but pushed it aside, focusing on what she believed was best for the project.
After the meeting, one of her group members, Alex, approached her. "Sophie, you're really smart, but you can't talk to people like that. Emma's idea wasn't bad. It just needed some tweaking. You could have been more constructive."
"I'm just speaking the truth," Sophie replied defensively. "I can't help it if people can't handle the truth."
Alex shook his head. "It's not about handling the truth. It's about how you deliver it. You need to learn to be more considerate."
Sophie spent the night reflecting on the conversation. For the first time, she began to see that her truth-telling might be more damaging than she had realized. She wondered if her behavior had already affected her relationships more than she had known. Her fears were confirmed a few days later when she received an email from Harrison and Company, the firm where she had secured her internship. They had heard about her reputation for being difficult to work with and were reconsidering their offer. Sophie's heart sank. This internship was supposed to be her stepping stone to a successful career, and now it was slipping through her fingers because of her behavior. Determined to salvage the situation, Sophie reached out to the firm, requesting a meeting to discuss the concerns. During the meeting, she spoke with Miss Parker, one of the senior partners. "I understand there are concerns about my conduct," Sophie began, trying to keep her voice steady. "I want to address them and show that I'm committed to improving." Miss Parker looked at her thoughtfully. "Sophie, We've heard nothing but praise for your intelligence and capabilities. However, we've also heard about your lack of empathy and the way you interact with others. In a law firm, collaboration and interpersonal skills are crucial. We need to be sure that you can work well with clients and colleagues.
Sophie nodded, taking a deep breath. I realize I've been too blunt, and it's affected my relationships. I'm willing to work on this to learn and improve. Please give me the chance to prove myself.
Miss Parker considered her for a moment before speaking. We're willing to give you a chance, Sophie, but you need to demonstrate significant improvement in your interpersonal skills. We'll be watching closely.
Relieved but aware of the uphill battle ahead, Sophie left the meeting determined to change. She began by seeking advice from Dr. Martin and Alex, who both agreed to help her develop better communication skills. She started attending workshops on empathy and active listening, learning to understand and respect others' perspectives. In her group project, Sophie made a conscious effort to be more considerate. She apologized to Emma, acknowledging that she had been too harsh.
I'm sorry for how I spoke to you, Emma. Your idea had potential, and I should have been more constructive.
Emma looked surprised but smiled. Thank you, Sophie. I appreciate that.
Sophie also practiced these new skills in her personal life, reaching out to friends and trying to be more supportive and understanding. Slowly, she noticed a change in how people responded to her. They were more open, more willing to engage, and she found that collaboration became more enjoyable and productive. When Sophie started her internship at Harrison & Company, she was mindful of her interactions with everyone she met. She made a conscious effort to listen more and speak with kindness. Her colleagues noticed the change, and she began to earn their respect not just for her intelligence, but also for her improved empathy and teamwork. Over time, Sophie's efforts paid off. She built strong relationships with her colleagues and clients, and her performance at the firm was exceptional. Miss Parker called her into her office at the end of the internship. Sophie, you've shown tremendous growth. We're impressed with your work and your ability to adapt. We'd like to offer you a full-time position here at Harrison & Co.
Sophie felt a wave of relief and pride. Thank you, Miss Parker. I won't let you down.
Reflecting on her journey, Sophie realized that embracing empathy and compassion had not only saved her career, but also enriched her life. She learned that honesty was important, but it needed to be tempered with kindness and respect for others. The phrase, "I'm just speaking the truth. I can't help it if you can't handle the truth," no longer held the same pride for her. Instead, she understood that truth, when delivered with empathy, could build bridges rather than walls. As Sophie continued to excel in her career, she carried these lessons with her, becoming not only a brilliant lawyer, but also a valued and respected colleague. Her journey was a testament to the power of self-awareness and the importance of balancing honesty with compassion.